Hello, I'm Jerry Scheidbach. I'm your instructor for leadership, organization, and administration in the Christian school. We're going to take a look at your syllabus today. But before we get started, I would like to make sure you know how you can get in touch with me. First, probably the best way would be to use the website, the Canvas website. You can go to the inbox and click on that. You probably already know how to do this, and then a new communication or whatever, correspondence, I forget what the button looks like now, but you can figure that out. And then you can write to me a letter, an email, and then it'll alert me. I've set it up so that any communication from the students through the website will alert my cell phone, and of course also give me an email alert that you're trying to reach me. Another way to do it would be to email me directly. And you can use my email address, which is jscheidbach@me.com. And again, you'll see that on the website. The third way you can reach me is to call me or text me. And you could text me at 805-714-0785. And of course, that's my cell number. You can also reach me by calling me on that number. If I happen to not be available, then you can call my secretary. And that her number is, my wife, by the way, Mrs. Scheidbach, and you can dial her at 805-714-0786. Or you could call my assistant pastor, Pastor Oscar Sanchez, a graduate of the West Coast Baptist College, by the way, and his number is 805-868-9531. So those are the ways to get in touch with me. Now, I understand, of course, I'm pastoring, and I've got all the things that pastors do. I'm the executive editor for a magazine, The Intercessor, and of course, that keeps me pretty busy. The various books I'm writing, other projects that I'm working with, and then my radio show, the Brain Massage radio show and podcast, all of these things keep me pretty busy. It is possible when you try to reach me that I will not be able to immediately respond. However, I promise you this, I will make student correspondence a priority over the time or the period of this course for the next 7 weeks. So let's go over the syllabus together, shall we? You should have a copy of this. You can print it. You can download it from the website. And I'd like you to follow along with me on this. If you don't have the syllabus in front of you, you might want to go to the website, download that, print it, and then come back and pick it up from here. Let's go over this together. You have 2 textbooks for the class. Both of them are required reading. And the first one is Team Leadership in Christian Ministry by Kenneth O. Gango. You can get that from your bookstore. My book, The Ministry of Leadership, is available online. You can get it in a PDF version for free from my bookstore, books@dbp.com. And the @ is not that little symbol for @ it's the letters AT. So books@dbp.com. David Baker Peanut. DBP. And anyway, if you'll use this code, you can get the manuscript for free. That's WCBC for West Coast Baptist College hyphen 2016 or for this year. So WCBC hyphen 2016. Use that in the coupon box there, field. When you're checking out, apply coupon. It'll zero out the balance. You can get the manuscript for free. Now, under course description, we read, this course offers an analysis of administrative behavior and organizational patterns within the context of Christian education. Basic factors and functions of successful administrative practices will be examined, and that pretty, I think, fairly summarizes what we're going for with this class. The rationale, Jesus mandated the Great Commission. It includes teaching all nations, and so it's appropriate that we provide training for those who would be tasked with the responsibility to lead these schools that serve that function of the ministry. As prerequisites go, basically you're expected to have a Bachelor of Arts degree or its equivalent. Let's look at the goals and objectives of our class. The expression satisfactorily completing that I'm going to use in the course of outlining my goals and objectives for our class time basically means this. It means that the students have completed the assignments and achieved a passing grade for the class as that is defined by the policies of the West Coast Baptist College. Now, when we talk about goals and objectives, our goal of something we're trying to achieve, something we're trying to trying to do. An objective, of course, is a task that we do on the way to reaching our goals. That's the way we understand it for the purpose of this syllabus. So an objective is measurable, all right, whereas a goal may or may not be measurable. And so we try to outline them that way. We understand that spiritual goals are not susceptible to human measurement. God will take care of that. But that doesn't mean we don't have some goals, some spiritual goals. And it's my goal for you that students completing this course will have a better appreciation for the spiritual aspects of their duties as Christian education administrators. Furthermore, it's my goal that you will see more clearly the pattern of Jesus Christ as the ultimate model of leadership. And furthermore, it's my goal that you will recognize and embrace the ever-present assistance of the Holy Spirit of God in the execution of your duties as an administrator or a leader in a Christian school environment. Then we have some specific cognitive goals and objectives. A student satisfactorily completing course requirements should, under cognitive, have these understandings. One, understand administrative technique so that you are equipped to apply those techniques effectively so that you can execute a wide range of administrative duties successfully. And then that you would understand and be able to articulate the biblical principles that govern leadership and group dynamics. So a part of this course that I think you'll find particularly interesting. And then finally, under cognitive goals and objectives, that you would understand the biblical principles that govern organization. Now, under performance objectives or goals, students satisfactorily completing course requirements should be able to organize and lead a team to the accomplishment of clearly defined goals, including but not limited to these specific tasks or functions: defining the expectations for a group, communicating those expectations and communicating generally to a group and with a group, supervising the progress of a group, and then evaluating the group during certain periods set aside for evaluations. Now, second, that you will confidently respond to conflict. Conflict being a dynamic that's actively involved in every group that's trying to function together to do anything. It's very important you learn how to handle conflict, and so we'll give that some time and attention. And my objective for you is that you will be prepared to confidently respond to conflicts and other obstacles that may arise as your team moves forward to achieve its objectives. And then third, provide essential training to other team members to facilitate their personal growth and to facilitate team success. So we not only want you to be able to imbibe and put into practice these principles and these ideas, but also that you would be able to give those to others, impart those to others. Let's take a look at methods of evaluation of learning, which would also be a statement of course requirements. Grades are going to be determined according to the policies and the procedures of the West Coast Baptist College. Students are expected to complete all the assignments and pass every test with a passing grade, as that is determined by West Coast Baptist College. Now we'll use lectures, classroom discussion, graded learning assignments to help you master and to learn the material we have for you. Under first, lectures and tests on material covered in the lectures. Of course, attendance is mandatory, and this will comprise 60% of your grade. That is, your participation, you're sitting in the classroom listening to the lectures and or online, and then passing the test. All right, that will comprise 60% of your final grade. You will be given lectures from the Ministry of Leadership manuscript. I will not be offering any lectures from Gangel's text. We'll be using that text in another way, although insights garnered from that text do enter into the lectures as I learned those things and studied those things, and we'll bring them out in the course of lectures. But essentially, we'll be following my manuscript, the Ministry of Leadership. Now, second, classroom discussion. That will comprise 10% of your grade. I expect you, of course, to pay attention in class. That will be part of this score. And then your participation in class discussion will be noted and will be given consideration in calculating this particular score for you. The third criteria is graded learning assignments, and there are two of them. The first will comprise 25% of your grade, and the second one will comprise only 5% of your grade. Well, the first one is discussion topics that are taken from Gangel's text, and that's how we're going to engage Gangel's text. I'm going to give you about 123 or so discussion topics, and you're instructed, it's about 5 per chapter. There are 25 chapters in the book, roughly 5 discussions per chapter. Of course, some chapters there are more than others, and some there's only 1, and so on. But you'll work through these discussions, and in that way you will communicate to me your reaction and your engagement with the text and the ideas that the text presents in Mr. Gangel's text. Now, these, of course, are posted online for you, and the student will be responsible to complete all the discussion topics assigned for each week, and you'll see them there under assignments on the website. Students are expected to participate in the online discussions. There's a thread there. You're to jump in and add your 2 cents worth, and so on. And it's obligatory that you participate in each of those discussions. And my suggestion to you is that you kind of follow those discussions a little bit, get a sense of what the other students are seeing as they engage my thoughts and Gangel's thoughts on these subjects that are addressed in these discussion topics, and write a summary. And the summary should be they can be as few as 35 words, 1 paragraph. They can be as long as a page. On the average, from 35 to 600 words, however, should be your parameters for writing these summaries. The summaries will be graded for 3 things. 1, they will be graded for your participation in the online discussion. I want you to engage the thoughts of your fellow classmates on these discussion topics. So that'll be part of your grade. And then 2, a demonstration in your summary, your written summary. I expect you to demonstrate your knowledge of the topic. And then 3, I'll be evaluating these summaries for the quality of the insights that you offer. And there's some subjectivity to that, but I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time, and I think that I'm able to, in an objective way, evaluate the value of the insights that you contribute to the discussion. So, those 3 things: participation in the online discussion, demonstration of your knowledge of the topic, that's key, and then, of course, the quality of the insights that you offer. So over the next 7 weeks, or reckoning 5 study days for each of those weeks, over the period of 35 days, you will be required to read through Gangel's text of 25 chapters and prepare at least 1 paragraph, 35 words. If you come in at 20, I'm not going to fuss at it if it's a quality statement, all right? But I'm just giving you some rough parameters here. A paragraph to a page, responding to each of the discussion topics that I'll assign you, and students are expected then to intelligently engage the author of the text, Gangel's text, and of your teacher, the instructor. Because what I've done is I've gone through the text and I've engaged the author myself, and I've expressed some of my thoughts about what he's saying. And what you'll do is you'll interact with all that and join us in that discussion. I think it's going to be a very good exercise for you. Each of these discussion summaries, is worth 25 points, all right? So in almost every instance, by the way, your summaries will not be graded on whether or not you agree either with Gangel or with Scheidbach, for that matter. The issue will be whether or not your language is legible. I can read what you're saying and understand what you're saying. And again, we go back to demonstration of knowledge of the topic and some valuable insights, or the value of the insights you raise. They don't have to be new and refreshing and something astounding and amazing that you've never heard of before, but they need to be have some sense and some value to the reader, or to show me that you're really thinking about these things is the objective here. Now, each discussion assignment, as I've said, is worth 25 points, and they will be evaluated as follows. First, students will lose 5 points if their response, or in their discussion, is not well-reasoned, or if it's incoherent. Or in other words, if while I'm reading it, I have to ask myself, What in the world is this student saying? Well, you're going to lose 5 points. And if it's handwritten and it's illegible, I don't even think I want to accept those, but I will if I must. But if it's illegible, then you're going to lose 5 points. You'll lose 5 points if your answer contains any errors of fact. All right? And then you will lose 10 points if your answer is off point. In other words, if you're just blowing a bunch of smoke about something and filling up a piece of paper with a bunch of words that has no real relationship to the discussion topic, then you're going to lose 10 points for that. So in order to achieve 100% for this assignment, the student must accumulate 3,000 points or 25 points for each of the, I think it's 123 different discussion topics. And now fourth on your syllabus, under methods of evaluation of learning, course requirements, is graded learning assignment number 2. This will comprise only 5% of your grade, but it's a very important exercise. I want you to collect mission statements from 5 different schools. I want you to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of each one of those. And again, it can be a paragraph or it can be a page, but don't write a thesis on this, please. And then from that exercise, I want you to write a mission statement for your own ministry, and that would be due October 24th, somewhere in there. By the way, your due date for all of these assignments is stipulated clearly on the website. As for instructional procedures or techniques of teaching, it's real simple. Lectures, graded learning assignments, guided discussions, and so on. And then, of course, your test. Now, as for course library or bibliography, I would refer you to the footnotes in my text, the Ministry of Leadership. I would refer you to the footnotes in Mr. Gengel's text, and, of course, also to his bibliography. All of that would provide extensive list for future reading or further study on your subject. Now, as for a course outline, the following is offered as a general overview of the course plan, lesson by lesson. The instructor may choose to alter the following plan during the course of a study. Now, in a 7-week course, it doesn't seem likely there would be much occasion to alter the plan, but it could happen. Let's take a look at your lesson outline and lesson description. Now, of course, you can read through it, and there's nothing to add here in the way of commentary from me right now. It's just that gives you your assignment due dates for the discussion topics and gives you a heads up on where in the book you should be reading coming into each lecture. The course hours estimation for this class is you have 7 hours of lecture. There'll be about 8 hours involved in your discussions, and then and that doesn't include, of course, writing the summaries. That's in the discussion time with the students. Your reading hours are calculated at about 50, and then your written assignment hours, and that takes in writing all the discussion topics, the summaries, and that'll be about 25 hours as an estimate. The exam, about 5 hours for preparation, and then so on, including the time of taking the test. And so that's about a 95-hour course, and that would be in value about 2 credits for you. Let's take a look at the text just briefly as we conclude our orientation to your class. The Ministry of Leadership, again, a book I wrote back in the early 80s when I was principal of the Baptist Christian Schools. And it's built pretty much around the leadership wheel that I discussed with you earlier, I think in my welcome. Defining expectations, communicating them clearly, supervising progress, and evaluating results. And if you master those 4 functions and then repeat that cycle over and over and over, like a wheel, it'll carry you to a good place in your organization. But the book also offers some very keen and I think very helpful biblical insights into leadership, into the way God uses authority and the dynamics that are involved in authority-subordinate relationships and all of that. Very, very, very helpful. It's got diagrams and illustrations and so on. Another feature of the book I'll bring your attention to that I think is going to be very interesting to you and helpful is an extensive word study on the various words that are used in the Bible for leaders or leading, for titles of positions and things like that. And that's toward the back. It's the last chapter of the book. And it, again, is quite extensive. It gives a very, very detailed study of each of the words that are used in the Bible, identifying a leader. And while I don't offer extended commentary on the implications of this study, those implications arise in the course of the lectures as they're presented. And what I recommend that you do in your own time after this class is maybe go back over all of those words and using the manuscript here and using your Bible, go through and study these scriptures that use these various words so you can get from God's mind an idea in your own mind of the way God looks at leadership and leaders. So it's my objective and my goal for you that you will be able to effectively lead, to define the expectations for your organization, to communicate those expectations clearly and effectively, to supervise progress effectively, and to understand biblical principles for evaluation that will help you evaluate the personnel and the organizational structure and organizational movement toward objectives and all these different things that we're going to talk about in the course of our time together. And I'm praying that God will help me, enable me to communicate to you what He's taught me over the years of leading various organizations. I look forward to this time together with you, and let's be praying for one another as we go through this class together. God bless you.